All right, everyone, welcome back to Chart Request Live. Happy Thursday. My name is Patrick Dunawilla. I'm the editor of the Chart Report. Joining me today is Sam Gatlin. How you doing, Sam?
I'm good, Patrick. What's going on?
Not much. So, what do you think of this week's price action so far?
It hasn't been great so far.
Hasn't been a great week.
September is not a great month for risk assets historically.
Yeah, and I'm glad I got another seasonality fan here. You've been all over that bad month, right?
Yes.
September's notoriously the worst month. I'm sure you've all heard it by now. Probably sick of hearing it. But anyway, you want to start off with the mailbag?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds good.
Nick wants us to look at Cintas, CTAS. This is the $80 billion specialty business services company. I believe they're in the business of renting uniforms for blue collar type jobs.
Yeah, I mean,
What a
nice steady
business, right?
uptrend here. It's one of those ones where it's like tough to get in, right?
Yeah.
Barely gives you an opportunity to get in. But so I mean, right off the bat, nice strong primary uptrend. I think if you're looking to get into this, if you're not into it already, probably looking over here at this 770 level. These highs from earlier this summer. Nice retest there. It would also probably coincide with this trend line. That's probably a great place to get involved. I don't even know where I would find targets. I guess we could fib this out, right?
Yeah. I think if you zoom out more, you could get a better fib. Like look at a monthly,
Yeah, you're probably right. Weekly.
weekly.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess 841 would be your target here. So if you are getting in, you don't have too much upside here before you hit this potential resistance level here around 841. But I mean, this one, very strong momentum down here
Yeah,
too.
it's been overbought all year on the weekly
Yeah,
RSI.
and confirming those new highs too, right?
Yeah.
So I like this one.
Very strong uptrend.
Bullish uniforms, right?
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for bringing that to us, Nick. Next up, we have one from Hanson. Hanson wants us to look at GEV. This is the General Electric spinoff, GE
Yeah.
Vernova. So this is a $54 billion company. They're classified as renewable utilities. I think they're very involved in like wind generators. I know we have a lot of those around here in Kansas. It's pretty windy around here, but they seem to be crushing it.
Yeah, and it seems like GE, like that's what they needed to do, just spin these, because it wasn't just this one. They spun off the healthcare and another one too.
Right.
But with this one, as Sam said, it's been very strong. I think if you wanted to get involved, this 180 level, if you get a pullback there, that'd probably be a decent level to get involved at. Um, a new name like this doesn't have a ton of price history. It's still kind of in that price discovery mode. So, you want to just be able to find a level. And as always, it's kind of just important to be able to have a clear out here. And in this case, it's probably around 178. Don't let it get too far below there. 175 even if you want to get a little more aggressive.
But if
But
you can get above that 200 level, you could get a $200 roll, right?
I like it. I like
Um,
it. Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of those big round psychological numbers. I mean, as silly as it sounds, I think they do come into play quite a lot. Here, you do have this resistance here, and that's what it's kind of been dealing with these last few days. I think it's pretty bullish though that it's still hovering there, even though it got rejected once, trying to take another stab at it. So if it does clear that 200 level, as Sam said, that'd be a nice, um, you might get that $200 roll. 200 gets
right.
you to 235 here to the next one. But this one, really nice, strong momentum. So we'll see.
Thank you for bringing that to us, Hanson. Next up, we have LRCX. This is
Oh,
Lam Research, almost $100 billion company now. They're involved in semiconductor equipment and materials.
oh man. This one actually, this looks decent. So, I mean, like most semis, most semis this summer hit their 161 or some sort of fib because they were just so strong. Most of them got to some sort of fib target, and then that's when they started stalling. This one was no different. You can see reached there in March and just kind of flatlined. You did poke above it, but not for very long, just a couple weeks there. And then you got this nasty kind of fail breakout almost. But you're getting a nice retest here.
That's a very big level.
Yeah, I don't love that it's already been retested, but perhaps you see a lower low here, and RSI isn't making a new low, so you have a bullish momentum divergence. That's possible, and in that case, then you're looking up towards 1,000 again.
It would make sense to me just to see it chop around here for several months.
Absolutely, yeah. Big red flag if it gets too far below this 700 level.
For sure.
I think that would be a bigger problem and probably maybe even lead to a retest of those 2022 lows. But one thing at a time.
Right. You're getting ahead of yourself. Speaking of semiconductors, Semtech has my attention, Patrick.
So that's SMTC, not SMCI.
Not
a little confusing there.
No, this one's been bucking the trend, making new 50.
Yeah, this one really like this name.
Looks great.
And you're right, showing relative strength. That's a great point. I mean, semis have been. This is a semi name, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, semis have been pretty
it's a
weak.
Small one. It's $3 billion.
Yeah, that's really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
So you got this little head and shoulders here. Not even little. I mean, that's a pretty much 2-year head and shoulders, right?
Yeah.
With these, you can use a measured move target. So 13 to the neckline's around 32, 33. So was that 20? 20 on top of 32.
Yeah, it probably. Yeah.
But I mean, and that actually aligns with these former lows here. That wouldn't be a bad place. But around that 50 level, I think would be a good place to be looking to take profits, which I guess is not that far away at this point.
But above there, it's probably visiting the former all-time highs, right?
Yeah, once you get above there, absolutely. Yeah, I think next stop all-time highs. But I really like this base. This is a major reversal pattern. So this is telling you that this downtrend of the last 2 years probably is over, and you're going to reassert that kind of longer term uptrend. So like Sam said, if you do get above this 50, if you reclaim 50, you're probably looking at all-time highs around 94 and beyond. But this is a really solid foundation here. Momentum pretty strong. Don't love that it's not making a new high yet, but there's time. And also it's in a really bullish range here, so not too worried about that. But yeah,
it's in a bullish momentum regime.
Yeah, some pretty clear levels on this one.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. Let's look at the Singapore dollar, Patrick. SGD USD.
Singapore
Massive
dollar.
Base breakout here.
Not a bad base here forming up. Man, what is that? 10-year base? Let's switch to a month.
That's a big one. Yeah.
Wow.
And what does this tell you about risk appetite, Patrick? Investors are bidding up the Singapore dollar.
I mean, so I think we established this is a developed nation, right?
Yeah.
Not emerging market currency. But in general, I mean, this speaks to risk appetite here, right? Is that how you're seeing it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I think we're seeing more and more Asian currencies catch a bid, which hasn't been the case for some time now.
Yeah, that's a good point here. But with this one, if it's above this 0.76, I'd say you're probably good to, man, I honestly probably looking at all-time highs. This 0.8 level, that probably could act as resistance. But that's a decade-long base that should get you to all-time highs. If that can't get you all-time highs, I don't know what can. So,
Yes. Let's look at Aon now. We're hitting up the YouTube chat. Donovan was asking to look at AON.
all
Aon.
right.
So this is the Irish insurance broker, about $75 billion in market cap.
Irish insurance, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. Setting up pretty
Seems like
nicely.
they
Yeah.
know how to do it.
Yeah, they do. Looks like they do.
Is that a new all-time high?
Looks like it. In a nice, strong uptrend, too. An uptrend that's just kind of been pausing, though, for the last 2 years. So here we are finally resuming it. Looks good if it's above 345 here. Looks great. We'll fib it out to get you a target. $400, 401. If it's above 340, gets you to 401. That's nice trade there. With this one, don't let it get, too far below 335. That's your clear out point. You're wrong at that point. But you're taking a small loss compared to what you could potentially make here. So I really like this one. Nice established name. Hasn't hit oversold on a weekly since the pandemic there. So
And it's about to get overbought for the first time in several years now. It looks like.
that's also a great point. Yeah, and look at momentum on a daily too. I mean, really
Overbought
confirming.
for over a month. Is that
Yeah.
what I'm seeing?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Probably not bearish, right?
Probably not.
Let's look at Google.
And I guess this would fall into financials, right?
Yeah, insurance. Yeah.
Okay. What did you say? Google?
Chef Aaron wants to look at Google.
Sure thing.
So everybody knows Google. It's almost $2 trillion. Pretty massive.
You can see I already got it marked up here.
Yeah.
Hit
Kind of
that
looks like
big-
that Lamb Research, right?
Yeah,
Get that first target. Now it's retracing back to the prior cycle high.
exactly.
Will that former resistance turn into support?
Yep. And I think this one's totally worth a try here. Unlike the last one, this one has not actually retested it yet. So this is kind of like the first retest. Normally, that's kind of the better one, right? Because assuming that there's demand at that level, the second time it does it kind of soaks it up the first time, so you don't get as much demand there on the second retest. So I think this one is totally a viable retest if it can, don't let it get too far below 144, 143. But totally, yeah, buying it anywhere between 150 and 143 there. I think it looks great.
For sure. Do you want to look at like XLC maybe?
Yeah,
is
sure.
A very large component of that.
Yeah, absolutely. XLC broke out a few weeks ago. Here we are, just kind of chopping around those former highs, as we've seen in a lot of things, right? How many other sectors or indices have you seen where you get there and then there's just this really frustrating chop for a while until you get a kind of decisive resolution? So I don't know. What do you think with this, Sam? Do you think we've seen that decisive resolution, or still need some more time, right?
I think it needs more time. It's not very decisive in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it is at that level, the prior cycle high. That's a very.
It is, and it is above them. So
Yeah.
we'll give it the benefit of the doubt here.
I think you have to give the benefit of the doubt to the bulls here.
Yeah, and I do like this, right? When it opened lower that Monday when the VIX was freaking out, and then here you pushed through, and then 3 weeks of gains after that. I like that's like basically just a false breakdown there. And it shows that it had the opportunity to break down, but the bulls refused to let it go too far south. So it's just kind of bullish price action there. And with this one, fib it out up to 112 there, right
On a dollar roll.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's right. Right, it'll have to cross a nice round psychological number there too.
I like those stocks. Let's look at SSNC for James.
SSMC or NC?
NC, Nancy C. So this is SS&C Technologies, an $18 billion software application company.
I can't say I'm too
Good here.
familiar with this one. Have you heard of it?
I honestly have not heard of it. No,
But it looks good, right?
it does. Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Good eye, James. Thanks for
Yeah,
bringing
nice
this to us.
strong uptrend. I like it. Hasn't broken out to all-time highs like a lot of other software names. Um, well, I guess, software hasn't been as strong as semis as far as within tech. Software, not a ton of things in software have broken out the way you might think. Like I'm thinking like Adobe, things like that, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. They've not been the leaders during this bull market.
yeah,
I'm looking at what they do. It looks like they provide software solutions to financial services companies and healthcare.
interesting.
Two sectors that are in favor right now, I'd argue.
Yeah,
So, not a bad place to be providing software.
yeah. With this one, I think this 65-ish level would be a great place for a retest if you missed it at this point. At this point, you're probably playing it back to all-time highs. This base is shaping up really nicely. Here, let me draw it just in case you guys don't see it here, but I mean that's how trends resolve higher. You already got the trend line break. It's just going through the classic steps of a major reversal. So it's hard to go terribly wrong with this one, but I would definitely be waiting for pull back to 65 to get involved, and then push back to 85. Maybe take some off there, and then you're looking at, if it clears that, then you're looking at 109 as kind of a secondary price target.
You're
But-
kind of stuck in the middle of a range at the moment, though. Not a whole
Yeah.
lot to do here.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of names are kind of like that at the moment, but yeah.
Cool. Let's move on to Jonathan. He wants to look at BVS. So this is Bioventus. This is a almost $1 billion medical devices stock.
Man, I love it. These people are bringing good stuff that I haven't heard of too, and I always like that.
We look at a lot of stocks, but
We
it's
do.
hard to see every single one of them.
Right. So here you're coming into these kind of post-IPO lows here that acted as support for about a year and then gave way. So you got to expect that to act as resistance. Now, if we do reclaim that, then you're looking at all-time highs around 20. That would be fantastic. I mean, if we, not to get ahead of ourselves, but if you do clear 20, then you're looking at 144. Is that correct? There we go. Sorry. Oh, 30.
That seemed pretty
I mean, sorry, 31, 32. Yeah. I thought that was a little aggressive there.
Yeah. No, this still could be a huge winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, you could probably encounter some trouble in here. Oh, and look, that's also the 61.8 retracement too. So lining up with a couple resistance levels. So this $12, $13, you could get a sell-off down to, well, here, let me see those fibs again. Down to this 8 level, that I would expect that to act as support if you're looking to buy. Maybe it gets rejected here and then you get involved around 8. And then, you're looking at 12 and 20, your next kind of significant levels.
Yeah, not a whole lot to do here, but set your
Yeah.
alerts, Jonathan. This could be a good one in the future.
Momentum's cooperating,
It is,
It's
yeah.
good.
There's a lot to like here.
to
Medical
like.
devices have been working too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Is that IHI?
Yeah.
You want to look at that real fast?
Yeah, let's check it out. Ooh,
Like it's putting the finishing touches on a bearish to bullish reversal pattern.
I like it. I like it. You're absolutely right.
Right at the fib too. Love to see that. Wow.
Yeah, and you could even if you zoom in here, that's a nice little base here. What is that? Since February, March? Yeah, so almost 6 months?
Is that a cup and handle pattern? Or is that too cute?
I'm sure we could draw one, right? But as far, just this base alone is nice enough to get you back to all-time highs. Um, or I don't know if that's all-time highs. I shouldn't say that, but yeah, it is. Yeah. So if it does clear this 58, call it 59 for confirmation. Then you're looking at 67. So nice move there. And this is an ETF, so you get that diversification. What are some of the largest components in here? Do we know?
Yeah, I can find it for you. Looks like it's pretty heavily weighted to Abbott, Intuitive Surgical, Stryker. All of those have double-digit percentage weights in there, all of which are killing it.
Yeah, this is ISRG.
Yes.
What were some of the other ones you mentioned there?
Stryker, SYK. I met a Stryker employee at the gas station the other day.
No way. How did that? Cool. How did that come up in conversation?
He had the shirt on, and I was like, "Do you work for Stryker?" It's like, "I love their stock. It just goes up."
I mean, hey, this is at a decent spot here. Very interesting. Very interesting.
And it's in the context.
You said this was one of the bigger components in there.
Yes, this is over 10%.
Oh, hey, 10%. That's a major point or part of that. Are you able to tell how many stocks are in this IHI?
It has 55 stocks.
Oh, okay. Well, more medical device companies than I thought.
Yeah.
Ooh,
they're kind of like tech stocks. Is that the way you think of them? Like kind of trade with tech more than they trade with big pharma?
Yeah, that's probably a good way to think about it. Healthcare sector is such a weird sector, right? Because you have components of it that are kind of defensive, and then other areas that are like the most aggressive. And I'm of course
Eli
talking
Lilly.
about biotech. But yeah, some nice names in there.
For sure. All right, let's move on to Ricardo. Let's finish with Ricardo. He's asking to look at ITB VNQ, the ratio.
Okay.
Says it looks like SOX, the semiconductor index.
ITB
versus VNQ.
Oh, okay. So he's looking at home builders versus real estate. Is that VNQ?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not something I've ever looked at.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it makes sense to look at it though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Here we are hanging out at the 261.8. Not great this week so far. If you do break that, then you're looking at down here at so I forget we're looking at a ratio here, but that would be bearish for home builders if you do see a breakdown here, and bullish for real estate, or that's an environment where real estate's outperforming home builders.
That would make sense to see if we're expecting lower interest rates. Real estate stocks are some of the most interest rate sensitive in the market. You're seeing a ton of them complete primary trend reversals. Something like 95% or above their long-term moving average.
You're talking about the REITs? Yeah. Huge improvement there. Now, I will say, we covered this in Chart of the Day yesterday. This one is reaching some resistance here. So like we were talking about before, as strong as real estate's been, and it has been, and I should probably emphasize this leg higher that it just made, super constructive. And it is part of that bearish to bullish reversal. It's kind of proving that, right? That's what that leg higher was. I think you could probably get a pullback down to 40 here. So as nice as it's been, I'm a little scared to chase real estate here. I think it'd be better to kind of wait for it to reset, buy it when no one wants it again. At 40, they'll be talking about interest rates or God knows what, commercial real estate. But at that point, I think 40 would be kind of a more attractive place to get involved. Now, on the other hand, if we're wrong, 45, if it starts breaking 45, then we're probably wrong, and you want to be looking at all-time highs next, and that's around 52.
It's very encouraging to see this kind of action, though. Like, real estate has been one of the worst sectors in the market for some time. A long time to complete this trend reversal, and to see a laggard like that catch up to the leaders is very constructive for this bull
Yeah.
market, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I don't know if you mentioned it before, but interest rates have been a big tailwind for this one in the last few months, right?
For sure.
Interest
Yeah.
rates coming down. Real estate kind of catches a bid here a little bit.
Do you want to look at some bonds to wrap us up here, Patrick?
Let's look at.
I know we've been putting on some options trades, like pull up the IEF.
Man, there's information in the fact of what we're looking at here, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
It's kind of interesting looking at the COT of bonds. You see the commercials are buying the long end of the curve, while you have speculators buying the short end of the curve.
Interesting.
So,
And what other ones are you seeing? I know Ag looks pretty clean. AGG.
yes, IEF looks good. HYG looks good. LQD looks good. I could keep going.
Oh yeah, we could keep looking at these. Yeah, with IEF, and that's the shorter term. So that's 7 to 10 year.
Right. I think it's closer to 7, but
Okay, makes sense.
yeah. No, it
Yeah,
looks
right around this. Oh, it's right around 100 too. Looks like it clears 100, and you're probably looking at 105 and 110.
yeah.
Nice round numbers there.
Yes.
I like-
These vehicles are great for options.
Yeah,
You don't get a lot in absolute terms, but if you juice it with the options, it can be some amazing trades.
yeah, and
Correct.
volatility. The option should be a little cheaper, right? Because volatility is a little less.
Right. Yeah.
But I'd have to look. I haven't looked at them, but
Yeah.
yeah, 105. It gets above 100, 105, 110. Those are your two levels.
Love it.
Yeah, that's not a ton of juice, but you said HYG.
Yeah. These are the high yield. It has like over 2,000 different bonds in there. It's
Really?
kind of like the Russell 2000 of the bond market. It just
Yeah.
these small companies, bonds. That's the way
Yeah,
I
this
think
one-
of it.
And this is kind of, would you say this is the most risk on of all the ones we've just looked at?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Is the Russell 2000 the most risk on index?
Absolutely.
So,
And you know, this one looks better than any of those. So I'd say that's bullish for bonds, right?
yeah, I think it is for sure. Looks better than the government bonds,
What are you talking about there? Like TLT?
like TLT, IEF.
Yeah. Yep.
It's already at that upper bound.
Yeah. Absolutely. We got anything else? Should we leave it here for today?
Let's leave it here, Patrick. This was a good
Let's
episode.
leave it here. Awesome. Well, if you guys want us to take a look at your tickers earlier, be sure to email us your tickers at questions@stockmarketmedia.com, and we'll get to them before the others. Sam, any last words? What was your favorite chart?
I liked the Aon. Yeah. Financials
Okay.
have been very strong. That's a good one.
Listen, the Singapore dollar was very nice, but
Yeah, yeah.
one that stuck with me, I think, is that Striker one that you
Striker,
brought up. I thought that was an interesting one.
for sure. Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you again on Tuesday.
Yes.
Thanks.
Go Chiefs.